Thanks for joining us for another episode of ECCB Connects. On today's program, Governor of the ECCB, Timothy N.J. Antoine, reflects on the work and performance of the bank over the 2020-2021 financial year. He also shares his prospects for the year ahead and how the ECCB is working to help the region move forward amidst the challenges. Stay with us. We'll share more with you after the break.
The Eastern Caribbean Central Bank is rolling out Dcash, the next step in the evolution of the EC dollar. Use Dcash to send and receive money to and from friends and family. Make payments directly from your smart device. Make payments from wherever you are. Download the app from the Google Play or Apple Store and sign up, or visit dcashec.com for more information. The future of the EC dollar is digital. Let's make history together.
Governor, welcome to ECCB Connects.
Thank you, Karina. Thank you for having me.
Governor, as we reflect on the last year, it's been one for the books, ranging from illnesses from COVID-19, job losses, contractions in our region's economies. The ECCB has gone into a period of telecommuting as a result. It's been a lot for the region and the people of the ECCB to contend with. Now, how did the bank continue to serve the region at this critical juncture?
Thank you, Karina. So we, from the jump, in March 2020, determined two key priorities for our bank, for the ECCB. The first, to keep our staff safe, and the second, which is related, to continue to serve our region well. And obviously, if our staff are not safe, and if our staff are not at work, they cannot serve. So we had to protect our staff, but also ensure that we serve our region well in a difficult period where the region needed its central bank to step up and to play a very important role. And so even before the lockdown was announced in St. Kitts and Nevis, where our bank is headquartered, we were testing remote working. And in fact, we decided to go to teleworking or working from home, which is remote working, a few days before the actual announcement of the lockdown. So we were prepared and able to transition very quickly and to continue to operate at a very high level. As a result of which we have been able to protect our staff. In fact, during this period, we've allowed our staff to return to their countries of origin if they wish, to allow them to have that family support and to be there for their families and the families for them, which is important for mental health and for their own well-being, and to ensure that they can continue to serve. And so I'm pleased to say that, 15 months in, we have been able to achieve both objectives, both priorities. And we're very grateful to God and the cooperation of all of our colleagues for what we've been able to achieve over this last, 15, almost 16 months.
Indeed. Well, Governor, as you spoke about the continued service of the ECCB people, we embarked on a strategic plan in 2017 where a number of goals were set out. And in the midst of the pandemic, we still had to work on achieving those objectives. Can you highlight for us some of the major activities and programs that the bank embarked on and achieved over the past financial year?
Our quest is socioeconomic transformation. And that is a relentless pursuit by the ECCB. And all the pandemic has done is made us even more determined to pursue our agenda of socioeconomic transformation. Now, it has also made it in some instances more difficult and in some instances a little easier. So I'll give you an example. Digital currency. We had committed as part of a strategic plan to digitize the EC dollar, which of course we've done. But we got a setback during the pandemic because some of our partners had to refocus their energies and attention to the immediacy of resilience and business continuity and just navigating this period, including lockdowns and so on. So we were delayed, but it also gave us an opportunity, recognizing the moment, physical distancing, the need for contactless payments, for us to expand the pilot. So instead of working with 4 countries as we had originally planned, we expanded to 8 countries. And as you know, on the 31st of March, Dcash Day, as we now call it, we launched our digital currency. And should I add our award-winning digital currency, because we have now been we've now received a global award for it. And we launched it in the first 4 countries, and we are expecting to have it in all 8 countries by September of this year. So that was a very important innovation. And the heart of this innovation is really financial inclusion and empowerment. That's the motivation. It's all about the people, our people, and giving them an opportunity to really have a chance to participate in the digital economy in a much more effective way, using the payment instrument that is Dcash. And what is that? It is safer, it is faster, and it is cheaper. So that was the big one, I suppose, the one that grabs the most attention and headlines. We also continue to pursue our climate resilient goals, our drive to carbon neutrality by 2022. So we finished phase 2 of our Greening of the Campus initiative, which means that right now, 60% of all our energy needs are generated from solar PV. And by the end of 2021, we expect to be at 80%. By next year, we will be at 100%, which is carbon neutrality for us on campus. So we were able to pursue that. Now, of course, very importantly, and this is something that is of particular importance to the people of our region, is the collaboration that we've had with our banks to deliver the loan deferral program. And arguably, that was the most important program in this period because of its the necessity to provide relief for the people of our region, whether you are individual, household, business, and in some cases, even governments. And so our bank, ECCB, worked very closely with the bankers associations across the currency union, the ECCU Bankers Association, and the individual country associations to ensure that we could deliver this loan deferral program for the benefit of the people, many of which are in the tourism sector and right now are without jobs. I mean, in our region, there are 80,000 direct jobs from tourism, 80,000. And of course, there are many more indirect. And so this was a very, very important program. At the height of the program, there were probably 27,000 loans that were benefiting from the program to a value of $5.4 billion. And so that was and remains a very, very important program. We also work with our governments. For the first time in 17 years, we reduced our discount rate, which is a rate at which we lend to our governments. And that rate came down from 6.5% to 2% for short-term credit, and from 6.5% to 3.5% for long-term credit. Short-term is anything up to 1 year, long-term is anything over 1 year, up to 15 years. That has been very important for our governments because they are impacted very adversely by lower revenues, the situation where they are having to provide significant support for their citizens and for businesses, care and relief packages, as I refer to them, to help tie them through this period. And at the same time, they're obviously working with very limited revenues. In some cases, the revenues cut by 25, 30, even 50% at one stage. So we worked with our governments to extend credit to our governments and to, of course, through our governments to support the people of our region.
Now, Governor, the ECCB recently released its annual report. This year, we are reporting a profit.
Right. So this year, we're reporting a profit of about $25.2 million, which is significantly less than last year. Last year, we had a record of $63.1 million. But nonetheless, we're pleased with the outturn. And of course, we are operating in a very low interest rate environment. So interest rates are almost zero. We continue to work with our governments. We are investing in our people, investing in our region. So for example, the investment we made with digital currency is on behalf of the people of our region. The other areas that we're investing in. We've invested in security with our commissioners of police. We've obviously supported our member governments with the pandemic. I didn't mention, but one of the things we did was a $4 million grant. And we are going to work on projects where we have a common cause. We also deployed $1 million to support vaccines and the rollout of vaccines. So there are ways and means for us to give back to our countries.
Now, as we look ahead, there are challenges that our region will continue to face. We have COVID that we'll continue to contend with, our vulnerability as small island developing states. People are looking for hope. What are some of the strategic priorities that the bank is going to embark on coming up in this financial year and going forward?
regional solidarity is very, very important. And throughout this pandemic, that's one of the things that has really worked for us. The fact that we've come together, our governments, our countries working together, helping each other, even sharing vaccines, sharing information. Look at St. Vincent and Grenadines. So we're able to send teams in there to help them, in addition to our specific needs, our specific supplies, which we all sent, our central bank included. So one of the biggest things about this pandemic is just regional solidarity and collaboration, the working together. We're in this together. Our best shot, our best chance of survival is working together. In terms of our focus for the new financial year, which is April 1, 2021 to March 31st, 2022, obviously financial stability is important. The reality is that we've had the single largest growth shock on record. Our economies contracted last year, 2020, by 14%, 14. That's bigger than the global financial crisis when the contraction was 6%. So it's more than twice. One of the things that we're concerned about is non-performing loans. Going into the pandemic, we were around 10%, which is double what we want to be. The international benchmark is 5%. So that's an area where we were not doing as well as, because we were already with elevated non-performing loans. As a result of this pandemic, given the extended closure of tourism and its slow recovery, we anticipate that there will be an increase in non-performing loans. So that's a concern that we have as a central bank, because clearly it touches and concerns the whole issue of financial stability. Now, the good news is that our banks went into the pandemic with strong liquidity buffers, strong capital buffers. In fact, no commercial bank, no licensee has come to our central bank, ECCB, and requested liquidity support throughout this period, throughout the pandemic, which is great news. It means that they are well capitalized and they're liquid. But as we continue with this pandemic, and the fact that tourism is not projected to fully recover until maybe 2023 or 2024, of course, we hope it will be sooner, but that's the projection at the moment. And of course, a lot of that is tied to the rollout of vaccine in the source markets, US, UK, Canada, and in our region. And of course, US and UK are ahead of us now in terms of the rollout of their vaccine programs. So given that situation, given the challenges we have in tourism, which is our dominant sector, NPLs are likely to rise. So that's a concern that we have. So we're going to be paying a lot of attention, working with our licensee, our commercial banks, and so on, to ensure that we are managing that very, very carefully, that we stay closely monitor on that, and that we make the requisite adjustments and decisions. Secondly, of course, is that we are going to continue our thrust in respect of payments modernization and financial inclusion. We talked about digital currency. Now we are beginning to roll it out. And we want that benefit, that instrument, to be in the hands of every single citizen resident of the ECCB. At least give them the choice, the option. And so that is going to be important, both in terms of creating a more competitive regional economy, but also building resilience. And if you think about it, if you spend less money on payment services, then that means you have more disposable income to do other things. And I've always made the point, people should be paying more for the services that they want than paying for the payment of services. And Dcash offers that faster, safer, cheaper alternative, which is very, very important. For a couple of days ago, I sent a Dcash, I did a Dcash transaction to a friend in another country. What would normally have cost me $40 or $50 didn't cost me a cent. That's the example and the power of Dcash. In addition to the rollout of Dcash, we also recognize the need to modernize the payment system. And so we are working right now on a new payment system and services bill, which is really important to bring our region and the payment system of the ECC into the 21st century. So that's an area that we're pushing. As a bank, we'd also be working on digital transformation initiatives. We believe that we can do a lot more with our data, and we want to get some data analytics, data management, data visualization, to sort of bring that data together and make it even more relevant or easier to use, accessible for making policy, for advising on policy, for shaping policy in the region. We have a lot of data. We complain we don't have enough data. there are gaps, but we also believe we're not using our data, the available data, as well as we should. And so there's a big initiative on the way to address that. By the way, we will also be addressing on our website. We're going to have a new website as part of our communication to our citizens, our stakeholders, and the rest of the world. So financial stability, top of mind and a key priority for us in this new financial year. Payments, modernization, and digital transformation is another. Environmental, social, and corporate governance. And so the greening that I mentioned, we are going to press forward with that. We're going to ensure that we hit our carbon neutral goals by 2022. That's very important for us as a central bank, a leading, small but leading central bank, because as I've always said, that project has about 4 key benefits. First, it reduces carbon emissions, which is important. Even though we're the lowest emitters, we're the hardest hit. That's important. Secondly, it gives us the moral authority to make the argument to demand that others do more, including large emitters in large countries. Third, it creates a demonstration effect of what could be and should be across our member countries, because we want to see more and more adoption of renewable energy in our member countries. As we speak, only 10% of our renewable needs are met from our electricity needs, are met from renewables. We want to see that significantly increase over the next 5 years. We want to see that triple in 10 years. We have to make a stand. And of course, it helps our bottom line. Last year, we saved $1.3 million as a result of that investment in solar PV. And the payback period for us is about 6 years. So those are some of the things that we're going to be working on. Always, of course, we continue to invest in our staff. We continue to invest in Team ECCB, because at the end of the day, we have to make sure that we keep sharpening our axe, sharpening our tools so that we can serve. And so even in this environment where we can't travel and so on, we have continued to invest in our team, invest in ECCB, invest in our people, and we'll continue to do that, because at the end of the day, we want to be in a position to give the best possible service. So those are some of the areas that the people, the region can look forward to in this new financial year as we continue with our thrust for socioeconomic transformation.
Governors, any final words as we conclude our discussion?
Well, I will conclude with my oft-repeated saying, which is, as a region, we cannot change our history. We cannot change our geography. But together, collectively, we can elevate our development trajectory through innovation and collective action. So let's get on with it. Let's come together and let's pursue social economic transformation. And finally, we cannot do this without the help of Almighty God. We are people of faith. We've drawn on our faith throughout this period, and we must continue so to do. And so we want to give a high note of praise to God for his manifold blessings, and we continue to look to him as the author and finisher of our faith. And with him on our side and our collective effort, we will do exploits. And I look forward to continuing to serve our region, working with you and all the people of our region, our governments and stakeholders, to deliver for the people that we serve.
Governor, thank you for sharing your reflections, your visions for the coming year, and for the encouragement as we press on to change the region together. Thank you.
Thank you.
We've come to the end of another episode of ECCB Connects. For more information about the work of the ECCB, be sure to visit our website, www.eccb-centralbank.org, or follow us on social media at ECCB Connects. Thanks for watching, and be sure to join us next week when we bring you another program.